Maybe. Oh, it worked. There it is. Good evening, everyone. It didn't go live the first time. It was like just circling around. I don't know. You know, you pay for that high-end internet, and this is what you get sometimes. So,
nothing.
There she is, Tracy Pinter's in there first. What's up, gang? So, for those of you that I should probably do this intro every week just to be sure that like people are know what's going on here. My name is CJ Reynolds. I run this YouTube channel. It's called Real Rap with Reynolds, and I don't rap. That's a whole nother story. But what we're doing here is trying to create a space for educators to like talk to one another on Sunday night before you go into school on Monday, and either answer your questions or you're in the side answering people's questions, because this is not all about me. It's about being a part of a community of educators. And so let me tell you like 3 quick things. I don't know why I just did that, but that was my 3 quick things motion that are kind of important about this. One, I'll answer anything. Nothing's off the table. I can't get to every single question every week, and that's tough. But like we do have the Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk closed Facebook page also. So if you want to go there, it's free. And people give like lots and lots of really thoughtful comments on stuff. Oh, Turtle showed up. And then there's also, I do mentoring on the side too, which is like a paid thing, but like sometimes districts pay me, sometimes teachers pay me, sometimes, I don't know, benefactors pay me. But like it is like a hour-long conversation each week. We go through your curriculum or your issues or whatever's going on, and I just try and help you with the best information that I can. So that's available also. You can just hit me up with that. Or I'm always getting like going off to schools. I think I've been away for the last 4 out of 5 weekends, 5 out of 6 weekends, something like that. I'm going away again next weekend to speak at a conference in North Jersey. I forget what it's called. But anyway, if you're interested in that, having me come to your school, do a PD, or come to your school and just like meet with a group of teachers or whoever you want me to meet with, you can just go ahead and email me at realrapwiththereynolds@gmail.com, and I can send you my rates and availability for all that stuff too. So that's it, folks. Put your questions in there, and I'd love to answer them. Miss Calls Campers, I see you in there, girl. I was just watching I was watching the rest of the Miami videos last night because there were a lot of them, and it took a while to get through. Shirley Martini, best name on the internet. Shirley Martini just got a brand new house and looks very nice. Did you see that on Facebook?
I did.
I was waiting to see what it looked like because she kept talking about it, like that they were moving and stuff. Leah Pratt. What are you talking about? Okay. And then once we get everyone's in here, I'm going to tell you who won in case you did not see for the Scholastic. You want to do it now? All right, do it. All right. So last week I said I have this partnership with Scholastic Magazine. And so I was giving away Scholastic Magazine. But then I have another caveat to this also, which is even more interesting. So what I wanted to give away was 3, like essentially like what I get for a month from Scholastic, right? So it's like 30 magazines or something like that. It comes with the lesson plans, it comes with the questions, it comes with the worksheets, and then the rest of the stuff is free online. And if for whatever reason you can't find that, just email me and I'll help you find it. But so the winners from last week were Allison Lancaster, Jay Apples, and Butterfly Samurai. Those were some gutsy parents that named their kid Butterfly Samurai. I'm just saying. They were like, you know what? We don't care. We'll just name our kid what we want. So if those 3 folks can just email me, I got an email from one person, but just email me your mailing address and I'll ship that stuff out right away. I'll get it out to you tomorrow. But also, right? Look, I'm not trying to like, here's the thing with giveaways. I don't ever do giveaways, but I just have like more stuff than I need sometimes. And I'm not trying to gain subscribers or views or thumbs up or anything. But it's just like, I just have a lot of great stuff that people send me, and I'm just trying to share it with the crew. So Scholastic said they would actually be willing to give one of you a year subscription to Scholastic Magazine for free. So all you have to do is, how do we want them to do that? We didn't talk about that.
I don't know. Yeah, so don't spring that stuff on me.
Well, think about it for a minute. My wife's going to come up with how we're going to pick the winner.
That's not fair. No, it'll be.
We didn't talk about it. I just remembered it.
I already know how we're gonna do it. You'll see it. It'll be in an upcoming video.
So in the next video. So how about on Tuesday?
No,
The
not on
teacher
that
tip
one.
video.
Not that video. It'll be on.
All right, so I'll let you know as soon as I know how the heck we're gonna take that out. But I forgot about it though. This light is making me so hot. And it looks. I have a tank top on, so it looks like I have no shirt on, which looks weird. All right, do we have a question?
No,
Can I just jump into it?
I know, right? It's been long enough, and you messed it all up.
Oh, I touched the wrong thing on the phone.
Oh yeah,
Sorry. All right, so I'm gonna jump right into these. Nizart is asking, hey, first year teacher here. I got all new kids second semester and really struggling with classroom management. Any advice for turning the year around after a bad start? Yep. So look, this is always tricky when you get like, so my elective in the beginning of the year when I have it on lock, right? When you get it later in the year, sometimes you're like cleaning up somebody else's mess, right? You're like taking kids that came from a class that maybe wasn't locked down like yours typically is, and maybe it was a free-for-all, maybe it was wild, whatever. I think telling kids, one, what you are planning to do, like, look, this is going to be awesome, but this is what I need from you to do this. Two, this is why we're doing this. Like, this is the reason, this is the importance behind what we're doing. So we're not just doing art to do art. We're not just studying this. I'm not just getting you to draw so you can like take something home to mom, but like, here's the practical applications of this. And I want it to be as awesome as possible. I think just having that conversation sometimes really shifts things, because when students know why they're doing something, the doing it is a lot more doable. I mean, like, they're just more apt to do something when they realize why. When I talk to my students a lot of times, at some point this year, I said like, hey, why does school suck? Like, why do you not like school? And a lot of the answers were because I'm learning stuff that I'm never going to use, and the stuff that I want to learn, I'm not learning about. And so it's like painting that picture, creating this kind of this, at least letting students know why they're doing something. So, I mean, Turtle's on here, putting a lot of turtles all over the place, but Turtle's class watched Pleasantville last week, and it wasn't just to watch a movie. It was to like break things down and talk about it. And then this week we're going to dive into that movie a little bit more and talk about magical realism and talk about the notes that we took. So there's a reason why we're doing it. We're not just doing it to do it. And I just think that works better.
Tell Indie Kitty, I literally just ordered the felt balls right now because I forget every time. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, I just did it right now.
I don't have to tell her. They can hear you.
Oh.
Good job. That Turtle, if you keep putting turtles all over my thing, it was Tiff. Turtle, Pleasantville was Tiff. Hashtag Turtle Talk. It's actually, I hate you sometimes, man. So that's pretty good. Vanna Banana is saying, do you ever we should have Turtle on one week. I should have like a midweek teacher talk, and then
a mini.
Yeah, because Turtle's always on. Turtle, and we'll have Imir on here. Vanna Banana is saying, do you ever do an EDTPA? Doing right now, and it's killing me. I'm not sure can you tell me what that is? There's too many acronyms in education sometimes, especially in special ed. Those people love acronyms and initials. If you tell me what that is real quick, I'll get back to you and I'll tell you if I do that or not. You have another question for me? Oh, what are you doing? You're ordering things on
TPA.
Oh, you're looking. Yeah. Look at you. You're such a good helper.
I know.
I'm gonna drink some of this water while you're doing that.
Oh, here you go.
That was quick. Helena Lee is saying, "Hey Reynolds, hello in Navajo." I can't even say people's names. I'm not going to try to pronounce that and then ruin it, and that would just make me feel bad. Anyway, that's really awesome though. My question is from last week. How do you use the data from the state test to drive instruction besides teaching to the test? So look, I think the tricky thing about that is like not all kids take that test seriously, right? So they just like sleep or they guess or they plow through it. So what I do is I try to differentiate one, who I think took it seriously or not, right? So if they're even taking in my room, I might make a note of like who fell asleep and at what time and how much I felt like they actually did. So I can look at that piece of the data, like look at the part that I think they did. And then I might look at kids like who had a ton of answers wrong and then figure out, all right, this is why. Like this is what is the reason that you did have all those wrong? Or like, why did you chalk the test? Is it just because you felt like it wasn't important? Is it because you thought you weren't going to do well anyway? Is it because you were angry about something else? Like, what was it behind the score also? So I more look at that than the actual answers. So look, we do map testing in our school too. So in map testing, that gives me a better read of like what question you got wrong, what the right answer was there a majority of students that didn't understand like plot structure or what metaphors or similes were or what imagery was. Like that stuff is actually useful, but largely it's like it's just aggravating because I just don't think that they take the test seriously most of the time, because I don't think we sell it like that. I think we sell the test as something that's a requirement and not a necessity, and not something that's actually like, measuring your learning. I'm probably not very good at helping with that situation either. But yeah, so that's how I do it.
Hold on, Tracy Pinter said EDTPA is for student teaching. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I'm wondering what it stands for though.
I don't know.
Is it like?
It doesn't really give me
EDTPA.
A performance-based subject-specific assessment and support system used by the teacher preparation programs. Yeah, for students.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's like Trace, is that similar to like a praxis exam or something like that? Because we can talk about that, but just let me know if that pops up and I'll handle it. Mrs. L. Hewitt, which always reminds me of Hewlett. We have good friends whose name is Hewletts, and that's her name always reminds me of that. Teacher performance appraisal. Just did mine on Thursday, day 5, or on Thursday, 5 years till the next one. That's not a question.
Oh.
So
maybe you want to talk about teacher performance appraisals.
So a friend of mine, Joel, works for a company. I just had this conversation today, in which they go in and they appraise teachers. That's his company's job, is to sit in on classrooms and look at what they're doing and how they're doing it, and measure teachers and how much, and then follow up with teachers, like how much have they grown based on the feedback that they were given the last time. But look, when I taught in Camden, I had a guy that sat in the back of my room and had a check sheet with all these were things like students' work was what do they say? What's the word I'm looking for? Essentially, it was like put up on the wall, right? Teacher did this. Students did this. Teacher did this. And it was just a checkoff thing. And if he wanted to, he could put little notes under them, but he didn't. He just used to check them off. And then you would have a meeting, and it was all said and done. It wasn't like I got to argue back or anything. I would sit in there. He would run through everything that I did. And then, or not even, he wouldn't be able to tell me what I did. He would tell me why I got what I got and what my score was. And that was it. And that was like how I got appraised. I go to my new school, and my principal, Dr. Tennant, who's like the greatest principal I've ever had in my life, he sits down with me. He he sits through a full class, first of all, and he's paying attention. The guy in Camden used to sit on his computer and order things on eBay, because I would walk back behind my desk every once in a while, see what he was doing on his computer, pretend I was getting a pencil or something. And I'd be like, bro, you're on eBay? Like, you're not even paying attention. Dr. Tennant went through and typed up my entire lesson. Reynolds came in. He greeted the students at the store. He started them off like this. This part was really funny. This part was really interesting. I'd like to hear more about why he does things this way. This student had this question. This is how Reynolds answered it. This is how collaboration looked like. Like, it was better than if I wrote up something about myself, right? It was like that in depth, and then gave me all of his feedback. But then we had a conversation about it, and then we talked about like what actually took place, and then he wrote up like what he thinks I should try more on, what I should like kind of lay off a little bit. It was so much better of a conversation. So like, even thinking about the way that teachers are assessed is so absurd sometimes, because that's the only way that's ever worked for me. And since then, my department head, Miss List, has taken over, and Miss List does it the same way. She comes in, she sees what you're doing, you have a conversation about it, and then you move on from there. So any other way that it's happening, I just don't see how that is real at all. It just seems like it's a bunch of like checking boxes and stuff like that. Sorry, I know that was long, but
It was a rant.
well, those things aggravate me, man, when they do
I
that
don't
stuff
know.
because it just discounts teachers and
You
all these
still don't
people.
even know what EDTPA is.
Yeah.
But I mean, in there people are talking about it, which is great because I feel like it gives that girl some help.
Diana Forbes said, "Give away a gold microphone."
Yeah.
Maybe. Katrina, we have a pink one also. Katrina Northman. That sounds Game of Thrones-ish.
Yes.
I was hoping for a better response from you on that.
Sorry,
one,
I'm reading.
I'm about to start a year-long program in May for both my multiple subject credential master's in curriculum. Any advice on staying motivated, focused on getting through the program? Katrina, I would say this. Look, this sounds woo-woo, and I get woo-woo every once in a while, but I really believe that right now, right, this isn't so far off the mark either. If you're starting a program and it's going to take you as long as it's going to take you, and then you're going to get a job and that will take you as long as it's going to take you to like get through that process and the interviewing and all that stuff. At the same time, there are children that are moving in the same direction as you, right? Like your two paths are going to like meet at some point. And then when you meet that kid, it is like, you know why you went through all the stuff you went through. I had a drum teacher when I was a kid, my Uncle Mike, and Uncle Mike used to say, I had this crappy blue drum set that I would play in my basement, and it was wet down there and mug. It was New Jersey, right? It's like we live like in a swamp. So I'm playing in my swamp basement on my crappy blue drum set, practicing week after week. And Uncle Mike says, look, man, one day, he goes, I know this sucks. One day you're going to play out somewhere and someone's going to love what you played. They're going to give you a compliment and it's going, or people are going to clap or whatever. And you're going to know that all this was worth it. And I think it is a matter of sitting down and thinking about the students that are on their way to you that you're going to meet one day. And although that doesn't give you a lot of satisfaction maybe now, it is that long-term planning. It's like putting money in the bank that like one day it's going to pay off. And so just remember that you're moving towards those kids, and you'll see, you know, hopefully in 2 years or whatever, you'll be like, damn, Reynolds was right. That's what I would do.
Oh, where'd my question go?
I don't know. I see Miss Winslow on there though.
Oh.
Kim H is saying, my state is this isn't a throwback to a previous question, right?
No.
Okay. All right. So my state has an insane number of snow days this year and is doing several avenues of making up days. Now admin has decided to cut recess in order to make up instructional hours. I wholeheartedly disagree with this, but I don't know what I can do about it. Suggestions. Kim, I think cutting recess is the dumbest thing ever. School,
I think it's illegal. I would
school
look state law.
sucks so much sometimes.
It's so
Kids
bad.
just need space to go out and be kids, to learn social emotional learning by actually just playing on the playground in social spaces with one another. Plus, all those poor kids with ADHD and stuff that you just need to run those dudes sometimes, right? Like, and
I
it
would
gives
make
them
do
space.
jumping jacks or exercises.
I'm wondering, Kim, can you formulate a plan around a lesson that in which takes you outside every day and it looks like recess, but it's actually like, no, we're doing this like social experiment or something like that. Or you're doing something outside, like where you're measuring how fast kids can run, or you're playing a game, but it's actually like just a space to go outside and instead of being in the classroom. I would maybe find a way to like see if parents can talk about the next school board meeting, or if they can, I don't know, to figure something out so that like kids aren't losing that. I would literally rather have more days than have no recess, because I just know that it's a big deal for students. And it's like punishment, right? It's like,
it is.
oh, now you had days off because it snowed, like literally like an act of God happened.
Yeah.
And now you're being punished to not have recess. I would, or maybe like talk to some other teachers, or just bring it up to parents. Like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, does this bother you? Like, and just sort of like put that bug out there. I was there, seed out there. I was gonna say bug in their ear, but that's a weird saying. Put a bug in their ear? What the hell? Why would I do that?
I love like,
because it's a weird saying, dude.
And sayings, but yeah,
I'm gonna put a bug in their ear. Why? That's terrifying. Didn't you watch Nurse Jackie?
To the next question.
So that's what I would do. I think it's awful. And I think that you're right, Kim. So go get them. I think I would be really interested to find out like what the
keep us updated.
Yeah, keep us updated because to see what happened. Peter, bro.
Peter, just Peter. Don't do it.
Swordsman. Soberman.
Okay.
Soberman. That's pretty close. Hey, Peter. Hey, Reynolds, I'm about to graduate from my master's in ed high school math program after resigning from TFA because I felt underprepared and not confident. I'm smiling because it was TFA and I have 1,000 stories about them. But any advice on my second chance at teaching? Look, man, I'm going to say first, I have known a ton of people, literally, that have come out of TFA that have been great. Everyone from my friend Randy Rebai, who has a new book out called Patriots Saints of Nothing. You can buy it on Amazon now. My friend Cho, that's been on the channel before, like she was TFA. Some really great people have come out of that. I don't love the model because I think it's like trying to empower you by like tearing you down in the summer, trying to build you back up, putting you in a classroom, and then you realize that like most of those strategies might not work per your personality, right? So it's like, it's not a fair assessment. So if you did not do well as part of TFA, I wouldn't sweat it. It's like not, it's just not the model. I don't care for it. So don't beat yourself up about that. I think when you go in and start teaching, one, you have to remember why you're there and remind yourself every single day why you're in the classroom. And if you don't know what that why is, then take some time to think about that. Two is to have fun. Like try to have fun as much as you can because your emotion is contagious. That like if I come on a live feed or if I'm on a video and I'm just angry all the time, like I know that's contagious. If I come home from work and I'm aggravated, I know that's contagious. And my kids get aggravated, my wife gets aggravated. You never get aggravated at me.
No.
But it's possibilities there. That's all contagious. So putting yourself in the best possible place mentally and physically before you go into the classroom helps you out as well. And then try to make whatever you're teaching relevant. Like explain to kids, especially high school math, where they're going to be like, why are we learning this? I'm never going to use this in my life. That's what every kid sounds like in my head when they complain. You are. And here's how. Let me break this down for you. And then those three things together, I think, really, really put you in a better place to start teaching. And that's it. And if you have more trouble than that, go on Teacher Talk, there's so many things. Real Rap with Reynolds, Teacher Talk on Facebook, the closed book or closed group. There's tons of math teachers in there. Pose your question. What happened that week? What went wrong? And then math teachers will like be on it and help you out with math stuff. This is a question?
Yes.
I don't know what that name is. Garchomp? I don't know. I'm gonna go. Are your students watching? Some of them are. Turtle's definitely on here. He's like 2 or 3 comments below you. I do have some students that watch. I have some students that just watch for a little bit and they go, I don't know if I told you about this. I get guys that go, yo, Reynolds, I try to watch your live feed, but it's boring. And I'm like, because it's not for you. Like, if I had to watch a live feed of someone putting on makeup, I would just not be that interested because I don't wear makeup. But there are students, and I know that there are parents that watch this every week too, so that exists as well. Probably. I know I'm one of those students who is here. Who is that? Is that Muppet? I know Muppet comes on here a lot. I think Muppet's mom watches it as well. The parents watch my videos, though. I do know that.
Oh yeah, he said Muppet.
Oh, is it Muppet? Yeah, Muppet. He's the young thug. Muppet's kind of like if Gonzo and Animal from the Muppets like had a baby, they would make my man over here. He's a great dude. Winter is asking, Winter Ogilvy? I think I say that right. I see that name all the time. You know, I should make a cheat sheet. Winter is asking, I've been reading teacher books and watching teacher YouTube videos and see how far I have to go. It's easy to get discouraged as a first-year teacher. Any advice to quickly implement changes? Winter, look, so here's interesting thought. So I've been writing a book and I actually just sent off like the intro and the summary and the first 2 chapters to a publisher to see what's going to happen next with this. In doing so, right, so I've written about 50 pages so far, and I don't know how many words that is because I don't know exactly what I'm doing all the time. So, but in doing that, it's really easy to write a book and see that your greatest hits are like what people think a year looks like in your classroom, and it doesn't. Like Turtle would tell you that like my class isn't like crazy awesome every day. There are some awesome things that happen, and I do act a certain way, and there's days I feel more funny and I feel like joking around, and other days where I feel like just like I really just tease Turtle like a lot. But when I'm writing, it's like it looks like everything that I'm doing is happening right now, and it's not true. And so I think that's what most teachers are doing. Or like when you're on YouTube, you don't have the 8 hours of regular stuff that you did that day. You talk about like it in little tiny chunks, so it looks better, right? So I just think don't beat yourself up because everybody else's day is a super ordinary anyway. And now you can break that up, and the way that I break that up is by doing silly stuff in the hallway, right? Like last week I bought this flamingo puppet. I got it at like, where did I get it? Like Walgreens or something like that. Like the drugstore near us, and it goes over your hand and you just talk with it. And I was making kids talk to it. I would refuse to talk to certain students in my class, and I just made the flamingo talk, which was really funny because eventually, you know, they talk to the flamingo, or blowing bubbles in the hallway, or any of the other like nutty stuff that I do. That for me makes everything a little bit easier, right? Whenever something awful is happening in my life, one of the things I try to do, first of all, I try to feel it. I don't try and run from it. I don't try and push it down. Like if I feel depressed or sad or whatever, I never try and just squash that. I try to feel it for a moment, but it only gets a certain amount of time. And then I smile. I usually have some kind of like sinister smile, like this shit's not getting the best of me. Like, watch this, like that kind of smile. Whenever I'm running and I hate it and it's freezing cold and it's raining. The other day when it hailed, I just get this like kind of shitty grin on my face that like, I'm going to handle this anyway. And that to me helps me kind of out in those moments. So look, I would read, I think even if you're not religious, anything by Father Gregory Boyle, because he talks about things in a real way. He does not win with all the gang members that he deals with. So a lot of the time he's talking about death and the repercussions of that, and how like these kids are dying. He's buried hundreds of people over the last however many years he's been working in South Central Los Angeles. So reading a book like that to me is a lot easier than reading like Freedom Writers, where it's like I showed up and I did this thing and it all worked out. And it's like, that's not how teaching is a lot of the times. But it's about how to get punched in the mouth and then spit the tooth out and keep going. And so that's why I like books like that instead. So yeah, keep going, girl. And if you need help, just let us know and we'd be happy to help you with anything. Lexi Alana is saying, how do you deal with kids who want to fail? Look, man, I'd like to say that doesn't exist, but I have dudes now. So look, there's a couple different moves on that. One, it's always a conversation. Sometimes it's not just with me, it's with somebody else as well. So I have a couple dudes right now that are failing and they don't seem to care. My move is always understanding, right? Like understanding where you're coming from. So I have one dude that's failing and it's failing bad, that my conversation with him this week that I want to set up is to say, look, I see what you're doing. I'm just wondering why. Like, why would you go that route without any thought that I'm going to fix him, that I'm going to say the right thing, that I'm going to win him over and he's going to show up to class and start doing work? Like, I'm not trying to do that. I want to just understand, because that's going to give me insight. And then maybe down the road, like maybe after that conversation, or maybe at the end of that conversation, it does veer in that direction where I see there's like an opening, so I can actually talk to him about like where I see his choices really taking him. But I think it's worth just asking kids about sometimes, like, hey, look, I see what you're doing and I'm just wondering why. Like, because what you're going to do is help me understand the situation, help me understand other people going forward. Like, what's your reasoning for this? Or like, where do you hope this is going? Or where do you see this ending up? And then the other times, it's just about what I call like suffocating bullshit. It's like talking to kids about their choices and being like, bro, this doesn't end well for you. Like, especially for my boys, it's like, you're already an African-American male that comes from West Philadelphia. Like, it's stacked against you. Like, you don't, like, people aren't handing out stuff. Like, you come from like a single family or single parent home where your mom is like working 2 jobs to hold up your family, to give you what she never had. And you're just kind of brushing that off. So let's break that down and talk about where this is really going to go, how you're going to end up pushing carts at the ShopRite, or maybe at Target where they have that cool shopping cart pushing
The
machine.
electronic one.
Yeah, that's dope. That's like you're like next level,
right?
But and letting kids know, like, after you kind of hit them in the face with that reality, like, dude, I'm here for anything you need. And if it's not me, like, who are we getting? Like, who are we inviting to the school? What professional am I going to get to talk to you? What other teacher are we going to bring in? Are we going to sit down with your mom? Like, how can we formulate a plan to help you win? Because right now, everything you're doing is going the wrong way and you don't even see it. But like, sometimes other people know us better than we know ourselves. And that's something that students have to really grab onto sometimes. Colt F is saying, was that long?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really feeling
fire tonight.
Yeah, Pastor Reynolds is coming out. My BA is done, and so this is Colt F is saying, my BA is done when I get out of the military next year, and I have two options. Traditionally, going for a post-baccalaureate certification class with 6 months of student teaching and start teaching and get my, traditionally there are two options. Oh, okay. Or getting certification. Cert during. Right? Am I reading that right?
Like, so he's going to teach and get his cert at the same time.
So look,
is that like a
Colt, I think there's a couple of ideas here. I did post-baccalaureate because I graduated with an English degree, and I quickly realized that equaled nothing for me anyway. But I went back for the post-bac because I wanted the student teaching piece. Now, I will say I went into significant debt by doing that because I wasn't making money. Because student teaching took so much time. I was at school. I would get there, 6 in the morning, and then leave by like 5 or 6 at night, get home, work all night to get my stuff done for the next day, to make sure everything was dialed in. You're doing schoolwork and you're doing like lesson prep for student teaching also. So I wasn't able to work, and I wasn't able to work on the weekends because I just did school stuff all the time. So if you can swing that because you can do it financially, that's the route that I would probably go. But if you can't, I would definitely do like if you need to make money, then get the job and do the certification. You'll figure it out. Like, you were in the military, you got this. So that's what I think. Almost everyone I've ever known that went from military into teaching,
never had a problem.
They just did better because they were used to confidence. Like, they had confidence going in, and they'd already dealt with like being beat down. So they weren't so easily dismayed, right? Or easily like beat up by it. So yeah. Alexis Prothero, I think I got that right, Alexis. And if I didn't, I'm going to pretend that I did. So Alexis is asking, do you have any tips for student teaching interviews? So look, I think, one of the things I say all the time is like, know where you're going and have questions ready for them. I heard a principal speak the other week, and she said that she doesn't like when people show up and they act like, look, I'm going on 10 interviews and this is just one of them. Like, make it special. Like come prepared, knowing some things about their school. Like, hey, can I ask you more about your robotics program or your school band? Or is there space to be able to be a part of the theater program if I come here, or something like that? They want people that want to be invested in the school more than just in their classroom. And then I think talking about how you hope to become part of that community of the school, right? Like with the teachers and with the students, like, you're willing to bring your all to that community. I think the other thing is writing handwritten notes. So, we already mailed them. Anytime I get a business card from anyone in the world, I just write them a handwritten note and I say, hey, it was really great to meet you. I really appreciate the opportunity. Hope you have a great day. It's on my own personalized stationery that I just print out on my printer. But like, you can just as easily go to Staples or something like that, or Target, and get cute thank you cards, and then just send them. It's the white space, right? Everyone else is going to send an email. You can be the one that sends an actual handwritten note that looks really nice and they get in the mail. That's the two things I would do. Kate, goodness gracious, Kate. That's a last name of all last names. Kate Ventimiglia. Someone's going to end up making somebody should just make a video of me saying last names. Kate V is saying, sorry, Kate, I'm terrible with names. Would you ever consider being a dean of students, or do you know someone who has made the shift from teaching full time? What would that transition be like and require? So I would not, because I like dealing with students more. And but my friend Cho, I should have Cho on to talk about this because it's really interesting. But Cho, since Cho is Cho is my go-to for when people say, like, can women be successful in an all-boys school like mine? And I say 100%, because Cho's 5'0" and she is badass. And if Turtle's still on here, he will tell you that she is tough. Cho has transitioned this year. She only teaches 2 classes, and she's a dean for the rest of the time. So what that means for her is she deals with a lot of discipline issues. Can you see what's this situation? Make sure that's cool.
Oh yeah.
What she's doing is, like, if someone gets kicked out of class, if someone has a problem, if I'm having a particular issue with a student, right? Like, I don't want to say someone comes in and they just want to put their head down and sleep all the time. And I'm tired of having the conversation and I don't want to disrupt my class. I just shoot Cho, like, take a picture, I shoot her a text real quick. Hey, can you come help me handle this situation? She comes in, she pulls the student out. They have a 30-second talk in the classroom and it's nipped in the bud and it's handled, right? So it allows me to not have to, like, deviate from my teaching, which we all know, like, as soon as you deviate from that situation, now the class has downtime, they're talking about something else is going on, and it's just a problem. So that has been tough for her because she said it's hard to teach and do that at the same time. My hope is that next year they put Cho in a full-time dean position, but she likes that. She likes calling home. She likes meeting with the kids. She likes that. She wants to get into administration, so it works for her. For me, I see it as, like, a lot of meetings, a lot of cleaning up other people's problems, and which I don't mind helping people do at all. But I feel like it takes away from that student interaction. You don't get to just see all the students all the time. You get to just see the kids that are getting in trouble all the time. And I think that I like the balance of that. Kimberly Wallback is asking, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Kimberly. What's the best way for a parent to deal with all-out disrespect? I think the same way anybody else does. I think so if we're talking about disrespect from students, I would say sitting down with kids and, like, pulling them aside, making sure that you're seeing them in the hallway or at lunch and, like, building those relationships. And then if that's not working, I think getting someone else involved in that conversation. So maybe you're not just talking to that kid by yourself, but you're not mailing your problem to someone else, right? You're not kicking a kid out, sending them to the office and hoping the office deals with it. You're contacting the office and saying, hey, I put this dude out, but I want to follow up later. Like, can we sit down together with that child? Because that's going to show that there's a link between the office and you, or between a teacher that student connects with and you. It doesn't just become the you show. And